of him to throw shots at somebody's baby, because he's throwing shots at Nicki Minaj's baby, okay? When there are pictures floating around of his baby, not a baby, a 10-year-old in a diaper.
Kendrick hate, I don't know if I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's helpful to our growth. It's too far. It's like bringing people kids in it. I don't like that. You know, maybe I've grown in a space that is probably, you know, I sound like, oh.
What if I told you that a single freestyle performance turned into one of the biggest celebrity debates on social media, and now people aren't even talking about the performance anymore? Because somehow, a night that was supposed to celebrate Jay-Z's return to the stage has spiraled into a controversy involving Nicki Minaj, Tasha K, old business disputes, fan wars, and a debate about whether certain lines should ever be crossed. And the craziest part, the internet still can't agree on who started it. Let's talk about it. Jay-Z made major headlines when he appeared at the Roots picnic in Philadelphia. This wasn't just another performance. It marked his first solo headlining show in the United States in more than 7 years. Naturally, fans were paying attention, but before he even touched the microphone, people were already talking. Why? Because Jay-Z showed up looking completely different. The longtime locks were gone. Instead, he appeared with a full afro, instantly triggering reactions across social media. At first, people thought that would be the biggest talking point of the night. They were wrong, because moments later, Jay-Z launched into a lengthy freestyle, and that's when everything changed. As clips started spreading online, listeners became convinced that he was taking shots at several well-known names: Drake, Kanye West, Dame Dash, Jaguar Wright, and, according to many fans, Nicki Minaj. Now, here's where things get interesting. One particular section of the freestyle immediately caught people's attention, not because everyone agreed on what it meant, but because nobody could agree on what it meant. Some listeners believed Jay-Z was sending a message directly toward Nicki Minaj. Others thought people were reading way too much into it. But once that theory started spreading, there was no stopping it. And within hours, social media was on fire. Suddenly, people weren't debating the performance, they were debating whether Jay-Z had crossed a line. And that's where this story takes an unexpected turn, because critics quickly pointed out something they felt was contradictory.
When Jay-Z looked this upset, he looked a little bit unhinged. There's nothing wrong with being passionate, and even if you're upset, but this wasn't, to me, in a Jay-Z character that I've seen him build and foster over the years when he's kind of laying down this boss talk. This actually seemed like someone who was very upset, perturbed, and disgusted by, I think, his legacy being criticized. I think his name being thrown into things. And I think this was more of a frustrated Jay-Z that was lashing out rather than the Jay-Z we normally see, who seems to have it all in control and is kicking this.
For years, many fans have argued that children and family members should remain completely off limits during public feuds. In fact, that's been one of the biggest unwritten rules in hip-hop. So when people began interpreting Jay-Z's lyrics as involving Nicki Minaj's family, the backlash came fast, really fast. But here's the thing. This wasn't happening in a vacuum. To understand why so many people immediately connected the performance to Nicki Minaj, you have to go back years, and this is the part many casual fans don't know about. Back in 2015, Jay-Z launched Tidal. At the time, Nicki Minaj was presented as one of the platform's biggest partners. Everything looked solid. Everything looked positive. It seemed like two music powerhouses working together towards the same goal. But years later, things reportedly became much more complicated. When Jay-Z eventually sold the majority of Tidal, Nicki publicly suggested that she didn't receive what she believed she deserved from the arrangement. And that's where fans believe the tension truly began. Fast forward several years, Nicki starts publicly expressing frustrations, social media gets involved, fans pick sides, and suddenly old business disagreements become public conversations. So by the time Jay-Z stepped on stage at the Roots picnic, many people already believed there was unfinished business between the two camps.
I was shocked that he came for Nicki's baby, and I thought we was leaving the kids out. when he didn't even like Kanye coming for his baby, but there are actual photos that I saw, me and my 10, and I was finna live it up on X. I was finna go there because I was like, we're gonna stop messing with these kids, and technically, the one that you claim firstborn son is 10 years old in a swim diaper. What is he, pen? I don't know, but I'm just saying we need to leave the kids alone.
Now, remember that, because it's important later. While fans were arguing about the freestyle, another controversy started brewing, and this one made the situation even bigger. Photos involving Jay-Z and Beyoncé's son, Sir Carter, began circulating online. What happened next sparked an entirely different conversation. People started sharing opinions, commentators started weighing in, reaction channels started posting videos, and eventually Tasha K entered the discussion. The moment that happened, the temperature online jumped another 10 degrees. Supporters argued that Tasha K was simply commenting on a topic that was already trending. Critics argued that the conversation had already gone too far. And that's when social media became completely divided. On one side, people argued that if public figures involve family members in disputes, criticism becomes inevitable.
Jay-Z was talking about Nicki Minaj kids? What? Look, bro, I don't want to hear nobody saying that Nicki went too far when she does respond. Now, don't get me wrong, Nicki has gone far in her tweets and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about? However, I don't want to hear, I can already hear the think pieces. Because I think a lot of us think the same thing about one of them kids. So when Nicki respond, I ain't trying to hear Nate.
The other side argued that children should remain off limits, no matter what. No exceptions, no double standards, no loopholes. And honestly, that's where the debate became bigger than Jay-Z, bigger than Nicki, and bigger than Tasha K. Because people weren't just discussing this specific situation anymore. They were discussing the rules, the boundaries, and whether those boundaries apply equally to everyone.
We can just rap, right? This just you call people PDF files. You ain't got no facts. You can talk about people, family members that don't even rap. Ain't no rules, right? Even though Jay-Z said that there is rules, leave out women and children. Even though I understand him going at Nicki, because Nicki is his op. Even though he said rappers can't be his op, but okay, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. We just gon' okay. You can go at Nicki, but the fact that you brought up her kid, bro, you opened that box.
But wait, because there's another reason this story exploded, and it has nothing to do with the original controversy. It has to do with fan bases. If you've spent any time online, then you already know that Nicki Minaj's supporters are among the most passionate fan communities in entertainment. The moment people started suggesting Nicki might respond, social media went into overdrive. Some believed she was preparing to address everything directly.
Need 100 niggas, little bitch, miss soon come. Dripped in YSL, one thug and one gun. What? Need 100 niggas, little bitch, miss soon come. Dripped in YSL, one thug and one gun.
Others believed she was strategically staying silent, and that silence became a story by itself. Think about that for a second. No response became news. That's how invested people were. Every day, fans searched for clues. Every tweet got analyzed. Every post got dissected. Every interview became potential evidence. And before long, people weren't even talking about the original performance anymore. They were talking about what might happen next, which is exactly why this story has remained alive for so long. Because uncertainty creates curiosity, and curiosity keeps people watching. What's fascinating is that this situation perfectly demonstrates how celebrity culture works in 2026. A single moment happens, social media reacts, content creators react to the reactions, fans react to the creators reacting to the fans, then creators react to the fans reacting to the reactions. And before you know it, one performance has turned into weeks of non-stop discussion. At this point, the story has expanded far beyond music. People are debating accountability, public image, industry politics, fan culture, social media influence, and perhaps most importantly, where the line should be drawn. Because regardless of which side people support, one question keeps coming up over and over again. Should children ever become part of these public battles? That's the question that continues driving this entire conversation, and it's the reason people keep returning to the story. Now, all eyes remain on the people at the center of it. Will there be a response? Will tensions continue escalating? Or will the entire situation eventually fade away? Right now, nobody knows. But one thing is certain. What started as a freestyle performance has transformed into one of the most talked about celebrity controversies online. And judging by the reactions we're still seeing, this story may be far from over. So what do you think? Did social media blow this situation out of proportion? Or do you think there are still unanswered questions? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.